Hi and welcome to the Python video workbook. This is a special course as it is entirely exercise based, which means you are the one who is going to create the programs, the Python programs, instead of me in the video as it generally happens with video courses. So there are 100 exercises or assignments if you like, and in each assignment you are given a Python problem to solve. That could be to fix an error, or create a program from scratch, or simply change a part of some existing code to get an expected output. The assignments are sometimes given as text, and sometimes for more complicated programs, there will be a video where I show you the behavior of the program that you are required to build. Then each exercise is immediately followed by the exercise solution, so you can compare your solution to my solution. However, keep in mind that sometimes solutions can be different, of course. So if your output is the same as mine, you can mark that exercise as solved. So output is what matters. However, if you are unsure about the efficiency of your solution, you can post your solution in the Q&A area. So I can give you some feedback. Moreover, the exercises are scored depending on their difficulty level, so you are advised to keep track of the points you collect, because at the end of the course you'll be able to use your total points to see what category level your Python skills fall in. And yeah, that would be an introduction about the course, and in the next video I'll show you the tools you need to complete this course, and in the video after that I'll demonstrate best practices on how to solve an exercise, so that you are sure you are making the best of the course. I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Hi, this video is about the tools you need to complete this course. So let's keep this to the point. The first thing you need is a computer. It could be Linux, Mac or Windows. Every one of them would do the job. Then the second thing you need is Python. So you need to have Python installed in your computer. It could be Python 2 or Python 3. So both of them would do the job well, but I recommend Python 3. Python 3 is what I use, and is the latest version of Python. If you don't have Python at all, you can go to this website and you can download Python and then install it. It's quite straightforward. The third thing you need is an editor where you can write and execute Python code. I would suggest you use your favorite editor. All editors are around the same. My favorite editor is Atom, so if you don't have a favorite editor, you can go ahead and download Atom from this website and then install it. The process is straightforward. And yeah, that's the three things you need. Once you have installed Atom, to use it, what you do is you are in a directory, for instance in here, and here all these directories, they have Python scripts inside. And I can right click in here, go to open with Atom, and that will open Atom in the current directory. And then I suggest you use a package, go to a packages settings view, open, and search here. So you go here to install and then search for Platformio IDE terminal. So click enter, that will search for packages with that name. And you'll see here, you'll have a button installed. I have installed this, so I don't have that button. So just go ahead and install the package and then close settings, and then you can go ahead to the plus sign. And that will open a terminal inside Python. Here you can execute Python scripts. So for instance, I can go inside this directory here with cd variables, tab for auto completion, enter, and then Python 303 is a script name, tab, execute, and that's how you execute Python scripts. So this is how you use Atom to write. So you write Python code here and you execute Python code in Platformio IDE terminal. And that concludes this video. Thanks, I'll talk to you later. Hello, in this video I'll show you the best practices on how to solve an exercise. So in other words, I'll pretend I'm a student now and I'll go ahead and solve the first exercise. So here on the left I have the Udemy interface, and here on the right I have opened an empty folder, so which I named PyExercises, as you see in here. And I'll be working with Atom Editor, so you can right click and go to Open Atom. Once you have Open Atom, then you don't need this folder anymore. Actually, you can close that and you can work on Atom. And I suggest you create one file for each exercise. So for exercise 1, I'll go ahead and say 1.py. That's the first file, and you'll see that here in the folder now, one file has been created, so a Python file. And then I'll have 2.py, 3.py, up to 100.py. So let's look at the first exercise. Okay, the first thing you need to look at is this bar in here. So we have 4 different levels. We have beginner, we have easy, intermediate and experienced. So this is just to give you an idea of the difficulty level of the current exercise. This also decides on how many points an exercise has, but I'll go through that later. So you always have a question here for each exercise. And this one, it says, let's start with easy things first, okay? What will the following code produce? Now, as you can see, this is quite an easy exercise. The first exercises are easy, but then they get complex, so you need to be a bit patient. This one, I'll prefer to do it mentally. I don't want to write that in a Python file, but normally, most exercises ask you to write some programs, so this is a special exercise. This is asking you to say what output this gives, and you can just say the answer mentally. So for this, a 2, 4, 6, this would be a 6, so the output for this would be 6. 6 is my answer. If you need help, then you can follow these arrows. They will take you to a hint. Which says Python reads and executes scripts from top to bottom, which means that A gets a value of 2 first, then it gets a value of 4 and not 6, and then 6 is used here, and print will print out that last updated value. However, if you like, you can try that code out in the Python terminal. Save that, and then you'd open Platform your IDE terminal, Python 1 tab 6, so that's the answer, and then you can check your answer against the solution, which is always in the next article. So this has 1 point, and you can check the answer. And here is the exercise for reference. So for your convenience, I have included here the code for the exercise, and the answer is 6, and 6 was my answer, so I can note down 6 points, 1 point for this one. And you can do that using a pen and a paper. I would prefer a pen and a paper, but if you like, you can do that digitally. So you can create a file here, let's say points.txt, and you say, so exercise 1 point, and so exercise 2 1 point, exercise 3 2 points, and so on. And later you can use Python to make the sum of all your points when you have reached exercise 100, and then you'd use that total number of points to see what category you fall in, so your skill level. And yeah, you're going to have an article on that at the end of the course. You also have the explanation here if you want to know more about the solution of this exercise. So sometimes you learn new things here, so don't ignore them, even if you feel that you understood well the exercise. Often there is something new that you may learn while reading or watching some videos, so don't ignore the explanation. And yeah, this is about exercise number 1. Then if you click continue, you'd go to exercise 2, but I won't do that, so I hope this is clear. And yeah, now you can move on to the first exercise of the course. I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is a video where I'll give you the solution to the current exercise. If you follow the previous exercises, you have noted that the solutions were given in text format. However, for some exercises such as this one, where I think I need to give you a broader explanation on how the exercise is solved, The format will be video. This also helps you relieve reading fatigue and eye strain, so you get more engaged with the course and eventually you learn better. So I'll be combining video and text throughout the course. Now back to the solution of this exercise. Right click, open Atom. So I'm using Atom editor to write and execute my code. Let me close all the tabs and open exercise 3.py. I'm also using the Platform IDE package, so it's an embedded terminal, and this is the solution. So for this exercise you are asked to tell about the reason you're getting an error, and the error was a name error. You always need to focus on the error message, so don't panic, don't ignore the error. This is very important. So here you have the line where the error is occurring, so this file 3.py, line 4, and here it is the line printed out, so this one in here. And then you have the type of the error, so there are many types of errors, and name error is one of the types. A name error means that a name you have provided in the code is not valid, but you need to see the explanation beside the type of the error. So after the colon you usually have the explanation of the error, and this says name C is not defined. So name C is not defined, and that is true, you haven't defined any name C in here. So that's the reason of the error. These are assignments operators and these are comparison operators. So you are comparing if A equals to B, so if value of A is equal to B and if value of B is equal to C, but C doesn't have a value, and so you're getting an error. So if your logic was the same as mine, then you can mark this exercise as solved. Great, then I'll talk to you later. Hi everyone, and in this video I'll hand you exercise number 11, because as I've mentioned before, for some exercises where I think I need to show the output on a video, for such exercises we'll be having video, as you see now. So I'm using the Atom editor with the Platform IDE terminal here. Let me execute the exercise 11. So what I'm executing now is a finished script, so the solution for the exercise, but I won't show you the solution. I'll be executing this and just show you the output. So for this exercise, please generate a list from 1 to 20, but do not create the list manually, such as creating square brackets and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so on. So please generate a list dynamically and print it out as I did in here. Thanks. Hi everyone, this is the solution to exercise 12. For this exercise you are given this range object, so the selected line is what you are given, and you are required to produce a list whose items are equal to the items of this range multiplied by 10. So the output will be this one in here, and this is how you solve it. So you would want to use a list comprehension here. This is the list comprehension. So this is like a for loop, but inside square brackets, so in one single line. And what we're doing is we're saying 10 times x, where x is a variable we are just defining in here. So for x in my range. So what this will do, it will go through all the items of my range. So it goes to the first item, which is 1, and what it does, it adds 10 times 1 in a new list. So you have a list starting with 10, and then a loop goes to the next iteration, so it does 10 times 2, and it puts 20 to the list, and so it adds all the items one by one. You could also do this using a for loop, so a standard for loop. That would also be fine, but this is more Pythonic, so we can call this solution a better one because it's shorter. And yeah, then we use the print statement to print this list, which is in here. That's about the solution. Thanks. See you later. Hi there, this is the solution to exercise 13. And for this exercise, you were asked to create a script that converts all items of this selected range to strings. So the expected output would be this one down here in the terminal. And yeah, I did this in one line. The key function here is the map function. So this is a built-in Python function. What it does is it applies a function to an iterable object. So my range is an object where you can iterate. So what this function does, it goes to all the items of my range and it applies the string function. As you know, the string function is a function that converts numbers to strings. So if you do str brackets and inside brackets you pass 1, you get a string of 1, like this one here. And yeah, then I converted this map object to a list, and then I printed out the list, which is this one in here. Thanks. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. See you later. Hi, this is the question of exercise 18. And for this exercise, what I want to do is I want to print out surname Smith in the terminal. This is a script I have, but if I execute that, I get a key error. So the question is, please explain why we get a key error here and how would we access a surname Smith. So to print it out on the terminal. Thanks. Hi everyone, this is the question of exercise 22, and for this exercise I want you to create a dictionary of keys A, B, C. So we have 3 keys and each key will have as a value a list from 1 to 10 for key A, 11 to 20 for key B, and 21 to 30 for key C. So a dictionary of 3 keys and 3 values, and the values are these 3 lists. And then please print out the dictionary. So the output of this would be this one in here. As you can see, this is a pretty print, so a nice print of the dictionary. If you use print, you'll probably get a not very nice view of the dictionary. So take care of that too, please. And yeah, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Hi there, this is the solution to exercise 23, and for this exercise you were asked to access the third value of key B, and you were given these 2 lines, and the output was 13, so the third line of this list is 13, and this is the solution. And it could also be good to print intermediate results, such as a dictionary. I can explain things better with this. It's a very good practice that you do as well to print out intermediate results. So I'm accessing key B first. Actually, I'm accessing the value of key B, which is this list. So up to here, this is a list object, this list in here. And then from this list, I access the third item, which has an index of 2. So 0, 1, and 2. And that will give me integer 13. And that's what I'm getting in here. That's the solution. Thanks a lot. Hi again, this is the solution to exercise 24, and you were asked to complete this script. So this was the initial script, the dictionary only. So you get this expected output, these 3 lines in here. And this is a solution. We're using a for loop, and we're iterating through the items of the dictionary. Because you know, you can try this, print d.items, to see what that gives you. So that gives you a dict item object. So this is a special object. And then you have 2 variables here, key and value, and each of these variables will go through each of these tuples in here. So key will be replaced with this B in the first iteration, and the value will be replaced with this list. So we're talking about the first iteration, and in that first iteration what you do is you print out the key. So B is printed out in here, and then a comma, and then you print out a string has value. So his value is printed there, and then a value, which is the list in here. And that's the same for the second iteration, and so on. And this is the solution to this exercise. So the key here is dictionary dot items. Thanks, and I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is the question of exercise 25, and for this exercise I'd like you to make a script that prints out letters of English alphabet from A to Z. And this is the expected output, so one letter in each line. I hope you crack this easily, and thanks, see you later. Hi everyone, this is the solution to exercise 29, and for this exercise you are asked to write a function that calculates liquid volume taken from this site in here. So this was a formula, and you are also asked to consider that R is always 10. So let's say all of our spheres have a radius of 10, so you have to take that into consideration when building your code, so that you make it very efficient. And if you pass 2, then you'd expect this output. Okay, this is a solution I came up with. I'm importing pi, which is a constant. It's somewhere at 3.14. You could also find that on the internet and just type down the number in here, but you don't have to do it if you know how to import pi from here. And then we have the function down here. I'm passing 2 arguments here, a non-default argument and a default argument. So a default argument means when you assign a value to that argument. So when you call the function in here, you only pass one value, and that will be replaced with the non-default argument. And if you don't pass a value for the default argument, 10 will be used. But if you want, you can pass a value for the default argument as well, like 5, and then 5 will be used for R everywhere, so 5 in power of 3 and so on. And yeah, that's about the arguments, and here is a formula. I think this is self-explanatory. This is a multiplication, and this is a power, so exponent, and then yeah, we have the same things here, division and so on, and then we return v, and then we print the function output. So 2 for h, and then v will be printed out. That's the output of the function. I hope this is clear, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Hi, this is the solution to exercise 30. For this exercise you are asked to find the reason why you're getting an error and how would you fix it. And this is the output, so you get a syntax error, meaning that you're not following the rules to write Python code. And then you have the explanation in here, which says non-default argument follows default argument, which means this non-default argument follows this default argument. And so how do you fix it? Well, you just need to put the default argument after the non-default argument. If you execute the script now, you don't get any error, and you can also try out the function. So try to call the function. Let's pass 2, and also explain to you why you need to pass a non-default argument first. So I execute it now. I get 4. 2 plus 2 is 4, or let's pass 3, so you get 5. So why do you need to pass a non-default argument first? The reason is that sometimes you don't want to pass a value for the second argument, but if you want, you can pass one, like 3 and let's say 4 for this. So in this case, a will be equal to 4, so 3 plus 4 is 7. But if you have this default argument in here, so if you add it like that, and then you just pass 3, for instance, Python will get confused, as it doesn't know if you're passing 3 for B or for A. And that's why you need to pass values for the non-default arguments first, so that they get a value, all of them. And then if you want to pass more values, those values will be put to replace the default arguments, the default argument values. I hope this is clear, and thanks. See you later. Hi everyone, this is the solution to exercise 31, where you are asked to show why there is an error in the code and how to fix it. And so this is the code. We have a function here which is quite clear and it doesn't have any errors, but we're getting an error in line 6, which is this line in here. The error is a type error. That's the type of the error. A type error means that you're using the wrong object type to do something, and that something here is you have to look after the colon for more detail. So it says unsupported operand type for minus. So this operator doesn't support an operation between some types, and then you need to see for more explanation after the colon. These are the types that the minus subtraction operator cannot support. So you cannot subtract a function type with an integer type. An integer is a number, and what a function is, this foo that I'm using here, you can check it, print type foo. So foo here, foo there, and see what we get if you execute this. You'll see that this is a function type, but if you replace that with the function call, you'll see that that's an integer. So the function call is an integer, but the function itself, so the function blueprint, is a function object. So the integer here would be like 1 plus 2 equals to 3. So this is equal to 3. That's why the type is an integer. Therefore, the solution here is you need to call the function, execute, and you don't get any error. You may want to print out X now, so feel free to do that. But this is the solution. So thanks, and talk to you later. Hi everyone, and this is the solution to exercise 33, where you were asked to tell what the output of this script will be. And I asked you to say the output mentally, so don't execute the code because that's quite easy to do, such as what I'm doing here. So the output is 2. But I asked you to do it mentally to understand how Python works. And so let me explain why you get 2 in here. Well, Python executes a script from top to bottom. So it goes to the first line, this is a comment, so just go to the next line. This is empty, go to the next line. Oh, we have a variable here, so 1 is assigned to C, so a name C has a value of 1 now. So C, think of it as a container. Then we have a blueprint, so which is a function, I call it a blueprint. So you write an algorithm to perform something, and inside this function what I'm doing here is I'm creating a local variable. So this is a local variable, this is a global variable. Inside a function, local variables cannot be accessed outside of the function. So this is a different variable, and this is a different variable from this one here. And local variables have priority inside a function. So when you do that, when you do return C, what the function does, it looks inside the function for a variable named C. And so Python, because it gives priority to local variables, this function will return the value of this local variable. So it will return 2. And then what we have here is we assign another value to variable C, to global variable C, which was defined in here. So C now has a variable of 3. And Python is still executing this script, so it's in line 7 for now, and then it goes to the last line where it prints out the function output, which is 2. So that's why you get 2, because function takes the value of C, of local variable C, and prints and returns that value. That's the explanation. Feel free to ask questions if you like. See you later. Hi there, this is the solution to exercise 39, and in this exercise you were asked to fix this script so that it prints out the cosine of angle 1 radian. Unfortunately, the script is not printing that out. Instead it says there's an attribute error, and then the explanation is saying that the module math has no attribute called sign. And unfortunately, Python is not that smart as to say that, hey, cosine is not the attribute you want to use to calculate the cosine. You need to use this attribute. So you need to figure out by yourself what attribute you need to use to calculate the cosine of 1 radian. And to do that, I would want to open a Python session, interactive Python session, import math, and then I'll quickly look what methods the math module has. So you can have a quick look in here, a cos, a con, a sine, maybe this one. So maybe I want to use that method, but you can ask for help, math.cos. And you'll see that it says this returns the cosine of x measured in radians. So you pass your radians there, cos, like that, save the script, exit Python, 39, and yeah, this time you get the correct value. So that's how you'd fix this script. But if you cannot do it like that, then you'd want to do some Google search to see how to find the cosine of a number in Python. That's the solution and the explanation for this exercise. Thanks a lot. See you later. Hi, this is the solution to exercise 42, and for this exercise you were asked to print out in each line of the terminal the sum of homologous items from the two sequences 0, 5, 7 and 9. You are given these two sequences, so a list and a tuple. This is the solution then. Every time you want to do to print something in a separate line, you'd want to use a for loop, and in this case we are using a zip function. It's a Python built-in function, and what it does, the zip function, it returns an iterator object that aggregates two sequences, in this case A and B, the list and the tuple. And then with two variables, what you do is you access, in the first iteration you'd access the first item of each of these sequences, so 1 and 4 in the first iteration, and then you return the sum of them, which is 5, and so on and so forth until the last iteration, which returns 9, so 3 plus 6. That's for this solution and explanation. Use a zip function whenever you want to iterate to more than one sequence. Thanks, see you later. Hello again, this is a solution to exercise 43, and you were asked to create a script that generates a text file where all letters of English alphabet are listed, 2 in each line, and so the text file would look like this: A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on up to the last letters. I'm using the string module in here, which is a built-in module. And that comes with Python, you don't need to install string. And then I'm using an open method to create a file in write mode in here. This is the name I'm giving to the file. And then again we use a for loop, and we're iterating through a zip function which aggregates the sequence, so to say, with this sequence, which return I have to open an interactive session here, import string, and then let me copy this to show you what you get from this. So this accesses the entire string, so it accesses this string, because you're saying give me that string from 0 to the last item, but with a step of 2. So what that will do, it will go to A, it will get A, and then it will skip B, and then it gets C, it skips D, it gets E, and so on. And so the same idea for this one. We start from 1, and so we skip A, but we get B, we skip C, but we get D, and so on. You get the idea. And then with these two variables, we say for later 1 and later 2, and so in the first iteration, later 1 will be equal to A, and later 2 will be equal to B. So what we do with A and B? Well, we concatenate those two laters, so later plus, later 1 plus later 2, so that would be something like A plus B. And then we also need this special character here, which creates a break line. So you get a string like that. Of course, the terminal doesn't show this as a break line. This works in a text file. So the text file will read this as a break line. And then it goes to the next iteration and so on. This is the exercise. I hope this is clear, but ask a question if you like, and I'll talk to you. Hi, it's me again, and this is a solution to exercise 45. You were asked to create a script that generates not less but 26 text files, and each text file will contain one letter of English alphabet as the text file name, but also the letter should be inside the text file. And this is my solution, and I made it a bit advanced, so I decided to create a solution that creates a folder named letters, and inside that folder it puts all these 26 text files, so from A to Z, and each letter has the letter inside them. Each file has the letter inside them. And if you made this exercise differently, so you didn't create a folder, that's fine too. Anyway, I'm going to explain here how this script works. So this is the two lines that create a folder named letters, and here I'm importing the string and the OS modules. You don't need to install them, they are standard libraries. And so I'm saying if this path exists, so if the letters directory exists, if this path does not exist, so if not exists, then create that directory. Otherwise, don't do anything. So if there's such a folder, don't do anything, just go to the next line. So the next time I execute this, nothing will be created because there's a folder with that name in there. And so we have a for loop here as always. For letter in this string of all 26 letters, and I'm opening a file with this path. So letters, which is the folder name, and then the slash, and then letter, so A for instance in the first iteration, plus an extension which is .txt, and we're opening that in write mode as a file variable, and then we write that letter inside the file, and we are also creating a break line there, but that's not necessary in this case. Anyway, again, here is the file name, and this is the content of the text file, and I hope this is clear. I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is the question of exercise 46, and for this exercise you are required to write a script that extracts letters from the 26 text files that we created in the previous exercise, and then put those letters in a Python list, and of course prints out the list. If you don't have the 26 text files, you can find them attached in this article. And so this is the expected output of the script. So I hope this is clear, but ask questions if you don't understand anything. I'll talk to you later. Hi again, this is the solution to exercise 46, and where you were asked to create a script that extracts letters from the 26 text files, which I have in here in this folder called letters A to Z, and so you are asked to put those letters in a list. So the letters contained inside each of the text file. This is a solution. I'm using the globe library here. That's a standard library, you don't need to install it. Then I create a letters list here, which is empty for now. Then I generate a list with globe.globe, and the globe method will be looking at this path pattern for file names. And so it goes to the letters folder, and then it gets everything that ends with .txt. So it gets the 26 text files, this one's in here. And then I iterate through that list, because you know, if you print file list, you'll see that you get all the paths of your files, and then you iterate through this list. So for let's say letters slash a.txt, you open it in write mode as a file, and then you say letters. So letters is the list you have created earlier. Append file.read. So with file.read, you're gonna get the content of that current file, which is letter A, and the \n character, which is a break line, and so you'd want to strip out that character from the content, and so you end up with only A. And so you append the first letter to the letters list, and then the loop goes back again. It goes to the next file name and does exactly the same thing until it goes to the very last file name, and then the loop stops, and then Python goes to the next line, which is printing out the list letters which was constructed in this loop. That's quite nice and straightforward. I hope it's clear for you, and thanks, I'll see you later. Hey there, this is a question of exercise 47. And for this exercise, I'd like you to write a script that iterates through each of the 26 text files. So these are the text files that we used in the previous exercises, but you can also find them attached in this article for your convenience. And so then the script checks if the letter inside the text file is in string Python, and then puts the letter in a list if the letter is a character of that string. And so then you print out the list. So this is a list. So again, what we're doing is we're going through these text files, we're reading the content. So we go to the first file, A, we read the content, and we check if the content of that file, so if A is part of this string, and if it is, we put A in a new list. If it's not, we go to the next file, and so on until we have consumed all the 26 files, and then we print out the list that we constructed. That's the exercise. I hope you solve it, and I'll talk to you later. Hi again, this is the solution to exercise 58. And in this exercise, you were asked to add a new employee to the JSON file, which I provided in the previous article. So that's a JSON file, company1.json. Let me split this to the right so that we can see both the Python script and the JSON file. And so the JSON file now has Albert Bert as a new employee there. So let me explain the script. And so I'm using the JSON library here, and then I'm opening company1.json in read and write mode. So R+ means read and write mode. Then I create a dictionary using json.load method. So file.read is gonna be this string, so the text, of course, without the Albert Bert dictionary values. So this string is loaded as a dictionary using JSON.loads. So JSON.loads converts a string to a dictionary object. I'm doing this because I think this is the best way to add a new item to this big dictionary. So we have a big dictionary here, which is constructed of lists. Anyway, then what I do is I'm accessing the employees, the value of the employee's key. So this is dictionary, and with the employees I access this list. So with all these names, John, Anna, and Peter. And so up to here we have a list, and then we use the list method called append. And so we are appending now. We need to append a new dictionary to this list. So we have 3 dictionaries. These are dictionaries with this key and this value, with this key and this value. And so we need to append a dictionary. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm creating a dictionary using the dict function. And I'm creating a key called first name. So this has to be the same as these ones in here. First name Albert and the last name Bert. So 2 keys and 2 values. So that dictionary will be appended to this list, which is a value of this big dictionary. And so up to this point we have a new dictionary. So we have this big dictionary that you see in here. Now from now on we want to write that dictionary to the JSON file. And here I'm using file.seek and 0 there. What that does is it puts the cursor to the top of the file, which means you know, when you read a file, we open the file and we read the file content, and the cursor goes at the end of the file. So just here. So at this point the cursor is in here, which means that if you want to write some content in here, that content will be written under these lines. But I don't want to do that, so I want to put the cursor up here again. So everything I do now, it writes in here above this existing content. So file.seek 0 does just that, puts the cursor at the top of the file. And then what I do is I use json.dump to put this dictionary object, to write the dictionary object in this file. So in this file here that we have open. And I use this indent option here, argument, I set it to 4. So to have 4 spaces as indentation, and then I sort the keys. So sort keys equal to 2 means that the string that will be written in the JSON file will have the same order as the dictionary. Okay, so what this will do, it will get the dictionary, so the dictionary including Albert, it will get the dictionary and it will put in the current position of the cursor, so it will put the dictionary on top of the existing content of the file. So it's like copying this and putting all that in here, and then the cursor is at the end of the dictionary that you have just inserted there. But then what you do is you use file.truncate, which what it does, it truncates, so it deletes everything under the cursor. So what you end up is the dictionary, the updated dictionary in the JSON file. That's the solution. I know it was quite complicated, but feel free to rewatch this video and ask questions if there's something you don't understand. And yeah, thanks again, and I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is a question for exercise 60. Please create a program that prints hello repeatedly. So you get this output. So hello, hello, hello is being printed out all the time in the terminal. I hope you solved this easily. I'll talk to you later. Hi, and this is the solution to exercise 60, and you were asked to create a program that prints hello repeatedly. Let me execute the script. 60 and hello, 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 and this is being printed out every fraction of a second. Actually, the speed, if you're asking how often the hello will be printed out, well, it depends on the speed of your processor. And so this is the simple solution. We are using a while loop. So while loop is another type of loop. So we have for loops and we have while loops. And this is a bit of an abstract concept. So it says while true, print hello. And true is always true, therefore hello will be printed all the time. And of course you can replace this to, I don't know, if while 1 is less than 2, print hello, Control C to interrupt the script. And yeah, this again will be doing the same thing, because 1 is less than 2, and so your processor checks this every fraction of a second, and it does this action. Actually, Python checks it, but your processor decides how often it can check it. This is about the while loop and about the exercise 60. I'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot. Hi, this is the solution to exercise 62, and I ask you to create a program that prints hello repeatedly after 1 second first, and then after 2 seconds, 3, 4, and so increasing the interval by 1. So your output would look like hello first, instantly, and then after 1 second, and then after 2 seconds, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, so after 4 seconds, and so on, 5 and 6, and so on. And this is a solution. Again, we're using the time module. And then we need to set up a counter and a while loop. We start from I equals to 0, while true is always true, so this loop will be executed infinitely. And so in the first iteration, what we do is we increase I by 1 immediately. So in the first iteration, I will be equal to 0 plus 1 equals to 1. So I is 1 in here. And so in the first iteration, we print hello instantly. So we haven't applied a sleep method yet. And so we print hello instantly. So that was the first print in here. And then we sleep for 1 second. And then we go to the next iteration. We increase I by another value. So increase I by 1. So we get I equals to 2. We print hello. And then we sleep 2 seconds, and we go again. We do this right away. 3 equals I equals to 3, print hello, and so on and so forth. You could have this expression maybe in here. That would be fine as well. So you get the same output. Hello instantly, hello after 1 second, hello after 2 seconds, after 3 seconds, and so on. So it's the same thing. I hope this is clear. I'll talk to you later. Hello, this is a solution to exercise 63, and for this exercise you are asked to write a program that behaves like this. So it prints out hello instantly, and then it prints it out after 1 second, and then after 2 seconds, and then after 3 seconds here, and then the program prints out end of loop and it terminates. And yeah, this is the solution. We're using the time module again. We're using a counter starting from I equals to 0. So again, the question asks to print hello instantly first. So this is what we're doing here. And then you increase the counter, so you are ready for the next iteration, where you wait for 1 second. But you also need to check if you're waiting more than 3 seconds, because if that is true, we want to break the loop. We want to print out end of loop, and we want to break the loop. So this break statement here will break the loop, so it will interrupt the loop. Therefore, we don't have more code after the while loop, so the program will stop. But in the first iteration I is just 1, so it's not greater than 3, therefore the script will sleep for 1 second in here and will go again in here. It will print hello, and then I will increase by 1, so it will be 2, but it's not equal to, it's not greater than 3 again, so these lines are not executed. And the script will sleep for 3 seconds, and then it goes to 3. 3 is not greater than 3, therefore we execute this again 3 seconds, but then when it goes to 4, 4 is greater than 3, therefore we get print end of loop and break the script. I hope this is clear enough to understand, but ask questions if you like. Thanks and see you later. Hi again, this is the question to exercise 64. This is an interesting exercise, and this prints out hello. This is what this code prints out, and this is a question. So the following code prints hello and checks if 2 is greater than 1, and then it breaks the loop because 2 is actually greater than 1. So the loop breaks and print hi is not executed. Therefore, whenever you execute the script, you get hello only. Now the question is, I'd like to ask you to replace the break statement with something else so that both hello and hi are printed out repeatedly. So you'd get hello, hi, hello, hi, hello, hi, hello, hi, and so on. But please don't change any other part of the code, just this line. Change this to something else. Please find out with what. I'll talk to you later. Alright, here is the solution to exercise 64, where you are asked to replace the break statement with another thing, so that you get hello, hi, hello, hi, hello, hi printed out repeatedly. And so I replace this with pass. However, so let me try this. Hello, hi, hello, hi, hello, hi, and so on. However, you can put other expressions here, which is not a break expression. So if you did, for example, 1 plus 1, you'd get the same result. Because what's happening is, while true, which is always true, print hello, if 2 is greater than 1, it is greater than 1, just do 1 plus 1. I mean, don't print anything, don't assign anything, just do an operation. And then the operation is done, and then Python goes to the next line and it prints hi, so it doesn't break the loop. However, if you pass, that means just go to the next line. You know, nothing to see here, go to the next line. So pass is a nice piece of statement that you can use sometimes. This is about this solution, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Hello, this is the question for exercise 65. And this code is exactly the same code that I handed to you for exercise 64. So what this does is it prints hello. However, for this exercise, I'd like to ask you to change this statement to something else so that hello is printed out repeatedly and hi is never printed. So the code would do like hello, 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 hello all the time. And I want you to do that by just changing this break statement to something else. Well, good luck. I'll talk to you later. Hey, hi again. This is the solution to exercise 65, and the answer is you need to replace the break statement with a continue statement. So if you execute the code now, you get hello, hello, hello printed out repeatedly. So that was the question for the exercise. You need to print out hello repeatedly, and you never print out hi. Why this happens is because, you know, while true, print hello. If 2 is greater than 1, it is greater than 1, continue. What continue does is it continues the loop from the beginning, if this condition is true. and so this condition is always true. So what Python will do, what continue will do, it will repeat the loop always repeatedly, and it will never go to this line. That's what continue does. So it's like the opposite of break, because break breaks the loop at this point. It doesn't go to the next iteration of the loop, but instead it goes to the next line. And pass, what pass does is it prints this, it executes the next line, but then the loop goes again repeatedly. It executes again and again and again. So this is the difference between these three statements: break, pass, and continue. I hope this was useful, and I'll talk to you later. Hello again. This is the solution to exercise 67. So this exercise asks you to use this dictionary and prompt the user to enter a word, and then you'd use this dictionary to translate that word from English to Portuguese. However, in this exercise, I also ask you to return a message when the word was not in the dictionary. And to implement that, you'd want to use a try and except statement. So what this does is, it tries this statement, and if it doesn't get an error, it doesn't execute these other statements, but it just goes to the next lines. So it will print out the translation for that word. However, if there is an error, the script will not break. So Python will try this, and if this happens to have an error, then Python will go to this line and it will return that word does not exist. Now, you see this key error here. This is one of the error types in Python, and you can also choose to not include that. So you just say except, and if there is any type of error occurring in the code, then Python will go and execute this line, this message. So let me try this. Python 67, enter a word, a random word, and it says the word does not exist. However, it's advisable to actually mention the error name explicitly. This is good to have the key error explicitly there, because you have more control on, as a programmer, you have more control on what's happening with your script, so you know what errors you're getting there. And so it's recommended to enter the type of the error here explicitly. I hope this was clear. Ask questions if you like, and I'll talk to you later. Hey, this is a question for exercise 72, and this is quite an interesting program that you'll make here, if you can. So please create a script that lets users, so it prompts the user to enter a search term, and then a browser opens and the browser searches on Google for that term. So all this happens automatically. Let me demonstrate the script. Python. So the script is asking me for a query. Let's say tomato types. I press enter now as a user. The browser opens and searches on Google for tomato types, as you see the query here. So it requires some research, and I wish you good luck with this. Thanks. Hello, this is a question for exercise 73. For this exercise, please multiply the values of the text file in the URL, which I'll show in just a bit, the URL of the file. So multiply those values by 2 and export the output to a new file. Let me show you the URL I'm talking about. So this is the text file. So just get this URL, www.pythonhow.com/data/sampledata.txt. Let's go back here, like that. And so I want you to multiply those values by 2, and so you from 3, 5 you'd get 6, 10, and 8, 18, and so on. So you end up with this text file. So from this one here to this local file, xy, 6, 10, 8, 18, and so on. This is what you have to do with Python in this exercise. Thanks. Hi, this is a question for exercise 75, and for this exercise I'd like you to plot the data in the file provided through this URL. So this is a text file we worked earlier. This one in here. So we have two columns with values, and I want you to use this input so that you create a script which, when executed, produces this plot. So these are the values of x and y. So 3, 5, 4, 9, and so on. We have 5 points in there. Please keep in mind that you don't have to use this particular plot. You can use any plot library that you want. The important thing is you use a library so that you plot this data somehow. Thanks, and I'll talk to you later. Hello again, this is the question for exercise 76, and for this exercise I just want you to print out this string, this text in here. However, please note that this is actually the current day, the current month, the current date, the current year. So you have to generate these dynamically. Don't just write down today is Wednesday, December 28, 2016. Yeah, that's the question for this exercise. I hope you solve it. I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is the question for exercise 78. You know, if you're planning to write a web app with Python, and then you'll have users logging into your system and you want to generate a password for these users, so you want to generate a random password with Python, how would you do it? So the question for this exercise is to create a program that generates a password of 6 random alphanumeric characters in this range in here. So letters of the alphabet and numbers and big letters and also these characters. So let me demonstrate the program. You execute it, it creates a string, so a password of 6 characters. You execute it again. Every time you execute it, you get a different password there, a random one. So please do that if you can, and I'll talk to you later. Hello, this is the question for exercise 79, and for this exercise I'd like you to create a program that lets the user submit a password through input until the password satisfies 3 conditions. So the password contains at least 1 number, it contains an uppercase letter, at least 1 uppercase letter, and the password is at least 5 characters long. And if one of these conditions is not satisfied, you want to print out this message: password is not fine. Let me demonstrate the program. 79. So first I'll create a password that contains at least 1 number, so we are satisfying the first condition. However, this is saying password is not fine because the other 2 conditions have not been satisfied. So this is asking again to enter a password. Let me satisfy the first 2 conditions this time. So at least 1 number and an uppercase letter, but not 5 characters long yet. So password is not fine again, and this time I want to enter a number, a big letter, and also have the password at least 5 characters long. So all 3 conditions, and this time I get password is fine, and the script stops executing. This is what you want to build in this exercise. I wish you good luck with that, and I'll talk to you later. Hey, hi again, this is the question for exercise 80. Yet another interesting exercise, but quite challenging, and in this exercise I'd like you to create a script, again as the previous exercise, that lets the user submit a password until they have satisfied these 3 conditions. So password contains at least 1 number, 1 uppercase letter, and it is at least 5 characters long. But in difference to the previous exercise, for this exercise I don't want a generic message that says one of the password is not fine and you don't know which of the conditions is not satisfied. This isn't very useful for the user, because they may keep trying a password but you never say the real reason, whether they have less than 5 characters or they're missing an uppercase letter and so on. So please give the exact reason why the user has not created a correct password this time. So let me demonstrate this. Exercise 80, enter password. So if I enter YA, this is saying, please check the following. You need at least one number, you need at least one uppercase letter, you need at least 5 characters. So let me enter an uppercase letter, and this time it says again, please check the following. You need at least one number, you need at least 5 characters. So the message, you need at least one uppercase letter, has gone. It's not here anymore. So the same if you do 5 characters, you need at least one number, and if you put a number there, then it says password is fine. This is what you have to build in this exercise. I know it's quite challenging and tricky, but give it a try. I hope you solve it. See you later. Hi, this is the question for exercise 81. And up to here, this is the same as the previous exercise, so you create a script that prompts the user for a password, and then it checks for these 3 conditions. And then if the user didn't enter a password that satisfies one of these conditions, at least one of or all of them, then you give the exact reason why the user has not created a correct password. So you give what condition has not been satisfied. However, for this exercise, I'd like you to implement some username capabilities as well, and please download this users.txt text file. Let's say these are usernames. Okay, I know these are planets, but let's say these are usernames in a database. So we have some existing usernames, and you want to create a program where users create their new username and password. So you're having new users, but you have some existing users, so you don't want your new users to choose a username that is the same as these ones in here as your current users. And so before asking for a password, please ask the users for a username. This is how the program should work. Enter username. Let's say I enter Pluto. It says username exists, so enter a username again. Yeah, username is fine. And if the username is fine, then you want to go to the next thing, which is enter password. So the program is asking me to enter the password, and this now works the same as the previous exercise. So when you don't satisfy one of these conditions, you get these messages. So let me satisfy all the conditions like that, and it says password is fine. This is this new program. It's quite complex, but if you have a previous script, that means you have completed half of this program. Yep, hope you solve it. I'll talk to you later. Hi again, this is the solution to exercise 81. And in this exercise, you were asked to prompt the user to enter a username, and you wanted to check that username against some existing usernames you had in a text file. And then you also wanted the user to enter a password, a new password, and you want to check that password. But you know this from the previous exercises, and therefore this part here is exactly the same as exercise 80. So this is a part that has to do with the prompt for a password and checking for a password and so on. But here we have another while loop. So this is our program. We have two while loops, one asking for a username and one asking for a password. As you know, Python executes scripts from top to bottom. So first it will execute this while loop, and then it will go to the next one once it has completed this first loop. And so while true, which is always true, this script will always be executing unless you break it under some condition. And so you first want to ask the user for a username, and you store that username to USR variable, and then you open a text file where you have some usernames. You have the existing usernames of your application, let's say, and you don't want the user to enter a similar username that is in that list, and you want to create a list out of that content, so a list with the existing usernames, and we use read lines for that, which creates a list object with items where each of the list items corresponds with a line in the text file. However, we have a small problem there. These lines, they have break lines, and so we want to strip the break lines using strip, and we use a list comprehension because the users is a list, so we want to iterate through all the items, and so we apply strip on the items for items in list users. And then we check the USR variable, which is holding the string that the user entered, submitted through input. So if that string is in list users, then you want to print out username exists, and you want to continue the script over again, the while loop over again. So you want to ask for the username again and open the file again and so on. Otherwise, if that username is not in that text file, that you want to print out these other lines in here, which is a message, username is fine, and you want to break the loop. So you're done with this while loop, and as you know, Python executes scripts from top to bottom, so it will go to the next line, which is empty, and then to the next line, which is another while loop, and I won't go and explain this now, because we did that in the previous exercise. So you know this is exactly the same as the previous exercise. And yeah, this is it. I hope it was clear, and I'll talk to you later. Alright, here is the question for exercise 84. For this exercise, please use the Pyglet library to create a Hello World application that looks like this. So it's just a window, a graphical user interface. Pyglet is a library, a third-party library for games, to build games in Python. And yeah, this does require some research to come up with this, and I wish you good luck. See you later. Hi, this is a solution to exercise 84, and this was the output, so let me close that. And this is the code. And let me show you now how I came up with this code, because to be honestly, I am not very familiar with the Pyglet library, but if you follow the standard procedure of researching about a library, you should be able to come up with some sample code. So let me show you how would you do that. A simple search for Pyglet should show you the Pyglet homepage, but also the Pyglet homepage in the Python package index website. I prefer this is more standard. So you have here you have all the packages for Python listed in this website, and they all have their home pages in there. This is the homepage of Pyglet. Sometimes you can find some sample codes right here in this page, but if you don't find it, then you have to look for the documentation link, such as this one in here. And then you have various links for the documentation, and the one you want in this case is a programming guide. And this is the guide for people who are starting with Pyglet. Pyglet is a library for games, to build games, by the way. I mentioned that earlier, and yeah, here you'd want to go to writing a Pyglet application. And here you have various applications such as a Hello World application, image viewer where you can show an image in a Pyglet window, but this is the one we want, and this is exactly the same code that builds this program that I showed you. So yeah, this is importing Pyglet, and you need to install Pyglet. So if you see that when you run the code you get an import error, that means that you need to install Pyglet with pip install Pyglet. And then you want to create a window object with this code, and after that what we want to display is some text. To display text, it says that you create a label object like this, a label here, and these are the parameters. I guess they are quite clear. So it's putting the text in the center of the window, and then you have this decorator which is attached to this object, so at window event, so when an event happens, which in this case means when the window is open, the window should clear first if it has something, and then a label should be drawn in the window. And then finally you have pyglet.app.run, so this will run the app. And yeah, this is exactly the same code as mine in here. So the purpose I included this application was to show you how to do some research for code samples on a new library. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you later. Hello, here is the solution to exercise 85. Here you were asked to create a script that cleans the countries row.txt file. This is supposed to contain a list of countries, but it also has a line such as a break line here, top of page, and so on and so forth. And you want to remove those lines so that you ended up with this clean file of countries only. This is how you do it. And let me explain the code. So I'm reading the countries row.txt file, and I'm creating a list out of that file. So a list content, let me print that out as soon as I create the list here to show you how the list looks like. 85. So this is a list. Here is A, the first line, and then the break line, and then Afghanistan, Albania, and so on, Algeria, and so forth. And each of these countries, they also have this \n, which is a break line, a special character, and you want to remove that as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm using list comprehensions to iterate through the items of the list and apply things like strip in this case. So for the first list comprehension, I'm removing the \n characters from all the lines. So all of them have such a character, so it's wise to remove that first. So remove those characters for I in content if this is there. So it's good to have the comprehension generic. So if there is an item without this character, we're sure not to get an error to interrupt our script. So that shall remove the \/ from our list. I can print it out again, and you'll see now that there are no \n characters there. Okay, and then the next thing I did was I used the list comprehension again. So I'm building a list. I'm saying that put I in the list for I in content if I is not an empty string. For instance, you have this empty string here. So what I'm doing is I'm saying put I in a list if I is not an empty string. Otherwise, don't put that in the list. So I'm updating the content list and I'm putting all the items that are not empty strings in there. And after that, so what I do is I remove the strings top of page using the same comprehension as this one in here. So it's exactly the same. and you can check the intermediate results at this point if you like, and you'll see that there are no empty strings now, but you still have these letters, so O, P, and the countries as well. So you want to remove the letters now and leave the countries. So how do you do that? Well, the letters, what specific attribute do they have? Well, they have a length of 1. That's what I thought about. But if your imagination is better than mine, you could find some other attributes. So this is what I did. I'll leave I there if the length of I is not equal to 1. And so that will remove all the single letters from the list. And then what I did was I created a new file, and then I iterated through the clean list, and then I wrote those lines in the list plus a break line so that they are separated each in a separate line. This was a script. I hope it was clear, and I'll talk to you later. Hello, this is the question for exercise 87, and for this exercise I'd like to give you this list with 3 items, and now these items are missing in this file. And you can find this file attached in this article. So Portugal, Germany and Spain are not among these countries, and what I'd like you to do is I want you to add these 3 items into this list. So to create, I wanted to create a new file containing all these countries. So there are 201 countries there, and I want you to create a file containing 201 plus Portugal, Germany and Spain. That's for this exercise. Good luck, see you later. Hey, this is the solution to exercise 87, and you are asked to add the missing items of this list to this file. And actually, I wanted you to create a new file. But if you added the items to the existing file, that is fine as well. So the new file I created was this one here. So from 201 countries, I came up with 204 countries. So 3 more. This is the solution. What I did to this list first, I added to each item, I added this backslash character so that I had them ready to insert to the text file. So now we have Portugal backslash n, Germany backslash n, and Spain backslash n. And then I open the countries missing file, existing file, in read mode, and I generated a list containing the 201 countries as items in that list. And what I did then is a simple thing. I have these 2 lists, 201 items here and 3 items there, and I simply added those 2 lists. So when you add 2 lists, you end up with a list containing the items of all the lists. And I also sorted out that list because at this point, if you print out checklist plus content, and if you go to the top of the list, you'll see that Portugal, Germany and Spain are added in the beginning of the list, but you don't want that, so that's why I applied a sorted function there, which sorts the items in alphabetic order, which is what we want. So from A to Z. And then the last thing I did was created a file where I inserted the new list, the updated list. So I simply iterated through that list, and we have those break lines already there, so I just wrote each item in there, and I ended up with this list. That's the solution. I hope it was clear, and see you later. Hi, this is a question for exercise 89, and here we're going to interact with databases. So please download the database file called database.db, and this file contains a table with 50 countries and along with the area for each country in square kilometers and the country population. Let me quickly show you how the table looks like. I'm using this small program called browser for SQLite, or SQLite browser. You don't need this program. I just want to show you how the table look like. So you can open a database, and the file I'm giving you that you have in the resources is this one here. If you open that, you go to browse data. This is how the data look like. So you have an ID, country, area and population, and you have 50 countries in there. Okay, and now what I want you to do is I want you to use Python to print out those countries that have an area of greater than 2 million square kilometers. So the output would be this one in here. So just that. These are the countries that have an area of greater than 2 million square kilometers, and you have to print them out. This is it. Thanks. See you later. Hi again, this is the solution to exercise 89, and we were asked to access some rows from a database file. So I use SQLite 3 for this exercise. You need to install it with pip install SQLite 3. And then it's quite straightforward. As you see, a few lines of code. You need to create a connection object using connect method of SQLite 3. So you just pass the path to the database. This happens to be in the same directory with my 89.py file. So I just pass the file name there. Then we need to create a cursor object by referring to our connection object. Then you apply the execute method to that cursor object. So you want to execute a query, an SQL query to your database. So the query is select country. Country is the name of the column, so we want to print out country names. And select country from countries. Countries is the name of the table in the database where area is greater or equal than 2 million square kilometers. So we want countries where area is greater than that. And you need to use the fetch all method then to your cursor object. So that will create an object with tuples containing the data, the names for the countries. And then you need to close the connection to the database. So that's about interacting with the database. Now it's all Python, so you have these rows and you just need to iterate through that. And because you know these rows, let me print out rows. Python 89. Okay, this is the rows object, so it's a list of tuples and each tuple contains a country. Therefore, that's why I'm doing here for I. So I will be each tuple, so I. And I'm printing the first item of I, which is Russia for the first tuple, and then Canada and so on. So I'm able to extract the strings and print them out in here. That's the solution for this exercise. If you have questions, please ask them in the Q&A area. I hope you're enjoying the course, and we have still some more exercises to go. Thanks, and I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is a question for exercise 90. So imagine you had a web application and you have a database where you store the data for your web application, and then you have users who visit your website. Maybe you have a service where users want to generate a CSV file. So a CSV file is like a text file with data, and they want to generate a CSV file with some data from your database. And this exercise is around this topic. So please, for this exercise, please download the database file, database.db, or use it if you have it already from the previous exercise. It's the same file. And then please use Python to access the database table rows that have an area of greater than, so an area of 2 million square kilometers or greater than that. And then please export those rows to a CSV file, and please export the rows together with the area. And the CSV file should look like this. Let me execute the script. This is a CSV file, so it has a rank, column, country, area, and population. These columns are in the database, but these are filtered to include only the rows with an area of greater or equal to 2 million square kilometers. So this is quite useful if you build web applications, because the user could have a simple interface where they could query some data, and then on the backend you use Python to generate that CSV file. So I hope you crack this, and I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is a solution to exercise 90, and you were asked to produce a CSV file out of a selection of records from your database file. And as you can imagine, this is very similar to the previous exercise, with the only difference that here you're not selecting countries only, so not the country column, but all the columns. So we're using an asterisk to denote that we want all the columns from the countries table. And yeah, that's the difference. And we're also importing pandas here because we need pandas to generate the text, the CSV file. So the key here is to use the from records method. So pandas.dataframe. So you're creating a dataframe object from records. So these should be database records. And here we're passing the rows. So you know from a previous exercise that the rows, they look like these. So these are the rows, tuples, with values for each column. Okay. And now we construct that data frame from that. And the problem is we don't have any columns for that data frame, so we need to create such columns manually. This is what I'm adding here. df.columns equals to this list of column names. And then finally, once you have the data frame, which I can print out in here, the data frame looks like this, nice and clean. And then you can just go ahead and export that data frame to CSV. Give the file a name and index equals to false, which means that you don't want to throw this column here, the first column, to the CSV file, because you have this column, so this should be enough, the rank there. You don't want this column as well. And this is the CSV file. That was the exercise. This is quite a very useful exercise you may encounter later in your career. So please take a note of this script, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Hi, we have one more exercise with database. So this is a question to exercise 91, and for this exercise please download the database file, database.db again, or if you have it already, just use what you have. And also please download 10 more countries.txt file, which looks like this. So we have 10 countries and the area along each country. So ID, Spain, country name and area. And what I want you to do is I want you to add the rows of this file, these 10 rows, to the database file so that the database looks like this. So we have 50 countries from the existing database, but then we have 10 more countries added from the text file, starting from Spain, Turkmenistan and so on up to Japan. And you also see that the text file didn't have a population column, therefore this will be null in here. We have nothing to add there. So that's the output you need to generate. Hope you find this fun, and I'll talk to you later. Hi again, this is a solution to exercise 91, where you were asked to insert these rows of this text file to the database.db file. And this is how I did it. So I use SQLite 3 and pandas. I use pandas because I wanted to load the text file as a data frame in Python, and then I use SQLite 3 to connect to the database, establishing a connection and creating a cursor object, and then I iterate through the data frame. iterRows is a method that lets me access the index. So it generates indexes and rows for each row, and so then you can access the value for a column for that row. So I'm accessing the value for the country column for the first row, and the value for the area column for that first row in the first iteration, and so on, each value. And you don't need to print those values out, as I'm doing here. So this is not obligatory to do, but it's good to have intermediate results. And this is the important thing. You need to include inside the for loop. So you want to execute an SQL query for each iteration, and so you want to insert into the countries table values null. So this is the auto increment ID. You don't need to insert any value there, because SQLite 3 will take care by itself by increasing the ID one by one. And then these are like placeholders that will be replaced. This one will be replaced with the value for country, and this one with the value for the area, and this will be null. So there will be no value for this column in here, the population. Okay. Then we commit these changes, so we're using a commit method here after we finish with the loop. So the loop ends there, and then we use commit to apply the changes, and then we close the connection. That's how you insert values to a database. Yeah, I hope this was clear, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot. Hi, this is a solution to exercise 94, and for this exercise I ask you to remove the S letters from this file, so in HTTPs, and also add a slash in here. And this is how I did it. So first I opened the text file in read mode, and I created a list containing all these lines as items. And I'm just printing the list here for intermediate results. And then I created a new file where I wanted to drop to put the new cleaned lines in there. So in write mode, and then while the file is open, I iterate through this list. Let me execute the script to see what's going on. So this lines list looks like this. And now the key here is to start from the small bits. So first you want to remove the S letters from those lines. And so I created this variable inside the loop. So that will be equal to line.replace S with nothing. So I'm replacing the S letters with an empty string, which means I'm removing the S letters. And this one here, this specifies that I want to remove, replace the first occurrence of the S letters. Because you know, if you don't put S there, if you don't put 1 there, Python will remove for this line, for example, will remove this S, but this one also. So you'll end up with www.techoverflow.com. You don't want that, so that's why you need 1 there. So at this point we have In the first iteration, we have http google.com, and then what we do to google.com, we add a slash. So how I'm doing that is, I split the line. Let me print this one here, line remove s, print line remove s, and add slash, execute. And so this is what's going on here. So this is line remove s, and from this I'm accessing the first 6 letters, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that after that I add a new slash, which is this string in here, and then I concatenate that with this part of a string, so starting from position 6 up to the end. So I'm concatenating these 3 strings in here, and yeah, that's the idea. I do that for all the iterations, for all the lines of the text file. And of course I write this line remove s add slash variable, which is the concatenation of these 3 strings. I add it to the file with a write method. That's the idea. So quite tricky, and I hope you understand it now. Thanks, I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is the question for exercise 95, and for this exercise I'd like to ask you to create a program that asks the user to enter some values separated by commas. Let's say the user enters Mars, Jupiter, Earth, and Earth, and once the user presses enter, the program will store those values in a text file. So if there is no text file, a new text file will be generated. So this was just generated, and you see these 3 values in there. Also, you want to have the program to add new values to that text file when someone executes the program again. So let's say I'm adding Pluto there. Enter, and you see Pluto is added there. Yeah, that's the functionality I'd like you to have for this program. I hope you solve it, and I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is the question for exercise 96, and for this exercise I'd like you to create a program that asks the user to submit text repeatedly, which means like this. So the user enters hey, there, you, and so on and so forth, and the program closes when the user enters close with capital letters. At that point, a text file has been created, this one in here, userdata.txt, where you have all the user submitted values, 1 in each line. Hey there, you. And of course close is not there because close has to be interpreted as a command to close the file and to close the program. And of course if someone executes the script, the program again, hi again, close, hi again is inserted in the text file, in the existing text file. That's the functionality you need to have for this program. Alright, this is the solution to exercise 96. What I'm doing is I'm opening a file in append mode, which means if the file doesn't exist, a file with this name will be created, otherwise the content will be appended to the existing file. That ensures that when you execute the program for a second time, the lines that the user submit, they will be appended to the existing text file. And so we need a loop then to ask the user repeatedly for input. Here we ask for input, and immediately we need to check if that input is equals to a close string. and if it is equal, we close the file, which means we are saving the changes to the file, and you can view the file with other programs, the content of the file. And you also break the loop if that input is equal to close, and that stops the program. Otherwise, if that is not equal to close, so it can be equal to anything, in that case we write that content in the file. That's a program. Quite straightforward, and I'll talk to you later. Alright, here we are with another challenging exercise. This is a question for exercise 97. I'd like you to create a program that asks the user to submit text repeatedly, just as you did in the previous exercise. But in the previous exercise, we were saving the changes and closing the program and the file with one single command, so with a close command. In this exercise, I'd like you to change your program so that the program saves the changes when the user submits save, but the program doesn't close. And also, the program saves the changes and closes, as it did in the previous exercise, when the user submits close. This is a behavior of the program. Write a value. As you can see, a file was created. Use the data save close.txt. You can give it any name you want. I'm gonna split it on the right here. So a new file has been created. Now if you enter some values, hey, the value is not written there immediately because the user has not entered save. Another hi, and then if you enter save, the changes will save in there, but the program is still running. So if you want, you can still add values there. Hey, hi again, and save. Hi again is there. Hi once more. Now if you press close, the program saves the last submitted line and closes. So as you can see, this gives the user more control to the program. And I hope this is clear, and I hope you solve this exercise. And yeah, I'll talk to you later. Great, this is the solution to exercise 97. So I'm opening the file in append mode. Then of course I need a while loop to have the program running all the time, and I ask the user for inputs, and if that line is equal to save, I close the file, and then I open the file again. So I'm closing the file because if you don't close the file, the changes will not be written there, so the file is still open in Python, and you cannot see the file content with other programs because you haven't saved those changes yet. So close saves the changes and closes the file. However, the program is still running, so what you want to do is you want to open the file again, because that's what the user wanted. So they wanted to save the changes but not close the program. However, your solution may be different, but if you're getting the same output as mine, then you should be good to go. And then we're using elif here because we have multiple conditions. If line is equal to close, then we close the file and we break the while loop, and so we close the program. Otherwise, if the string is not safe and it's not closed, then we write that string to the file. Yeah, that's more or less about the solution for this exercise. I hope this is clear, and I'll talk to you later. Hi again, this is very hard to solve. Anyway, this is a question for exercise 98. You have to create a program that asks the user to submit text through a graphical user interface. Let me show you how this interface looks like and all the details of how the program works. This is a graphical user interface, and it has 3 buttons: an add line, save changes, and a save and close button. And it also has an entry text box here where the user will enter the text. Let's say first a line in here. If the user wants to add the line to the text file, it presses add line, and the text box empties, so it clears off, and the user can enter more text lines in there. However, at this point, you as a programmer, you haven't added the lines to the text file yet. If you want to do that, you want to press Save Changes, and then you see you have to create this user.gui file. So this is the first line. Now if the user wants to enter more lines, second line, I have a typo there, add line, third line maybe, add line, save changes, and the lines are added instantly in the text file when the user presses save changes. And lastly, if the user wants to close the program, and just say save and close, and the program stops and the text file is there, and you can of course execute the program again. Fourth line, add line, save and close, fourth line is added there. So yeah, it's a bit complex, but try to build it as much as you can. Hope you enjoy this, and I'll talk to you later. Hello, and this is the question for exercise 99. For this exercise, please create a program that asks the user to submit text through a web app. I know I did go a bit too far here, so this is quite difficult to do if you are not familiar with building web applications, but anyway, you can see the solution in the next video where I explain to you the code, and maybe you'll understand how web applications are built. And we're building this with the Flask web framework, so a Python library. Let me demonstrate you the web application. I simply run the script, and that means the application is running and I can access it in this address. So port 5000, you can write down that address, or you can do localhost 5000, is the same thing. And this is the web application. What this will do is, let me submit some text there. Line 1, for instance, submit. And that creates a text file, yes, locally, so in this folder where the Python script is. And then the next time when you add more lines there, line 2 is added in that existing text file, and so on. That's the web application. So I hope you solve this, but if you cannot, then just go and learn Flask in the next video. Talk to you there. Hey, this is a solution to exercise 99, where we created this web application that was writing text in a text file. So we're using Flask. You need to install Flask. If you haven't, pip install Flask. And then from the Flask library you import the Flask class, and then render template string and request. And then you create an app instance, a Flask object, which is a central object in a Flask application. And then you have to create some HTML, because you know this is HTML. The thing that renders this web page is HTML. It's not Python. You cannot build this with Python, so you need HTML. And then you start creating the URLs. So in the home URL, you attach that URL with this function. So when the user visits the home page, which is localhost :5000, that's the home page, without /send. When the user visits that, you want to render the HTML string, so this here, which is this one in here. Okay, and then you have another URL, which is this one here. So it's a localhost :5000/send. And here we want to specify methods get and post. This by default is a get method, this first URL. This will have a post method, which means this page can also get requests from the user, and a post method is when the user submits something to the server, to the web server. So the user is submitting data, therefore you need to enable this URL to get post requests. And this is a function we attach to this URL. So when the user visits this URL, this function will be called. And what I'm doing here is, let's ignore this for now. I'm saying that if I get a post request, so I import a request from here. If I get a post request, then line equals to request.form, and a line which corresponds with this name in here. So basically I'm getting from the form, I'm getting the text that the user is inputting in the input text box. So basically line here will be equal to a line 3, for example. And then I open a text file in append mode so that I can append lines in the text file, and then I write down the line in that text file. So I created a line equals to none here, so that if the user doesn't send anything, I don't get an error here saying that line is not defined. So I created a line equals to none, and then so if we get a post request, we render the HTML string again. So we send the string, the text, the user's text, to the web server, to the text file, and then we render the page again so that the user can enter more lines. And then these two are standard lines in a Flask application, which is basically saying that if you are not importing this script, so if you're executing 99.py and you're not importing it from another file, then run the app, so app.run. And you also have this debug equals to true, which means that if your application is not running, you will see some errors in your web page. So in localhost colon 5000. Yeah, that's the application. I know it's a bit too much if you haven't heard of Flask before, so please try to go through a tutorial, maybe go through my Python Mega course. That covers quite a lot of Flask, and we're building quite a few applications there. And yeah, this is about this exercise. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later. Hi, and let me hand you the last exercise for the course. So this is a question for exercise 100. For this exercise, please create a web app with Flask that lets users submit a username and password through the web page of the web app. And so this app checks if the username exists and if the password satisfies 3 conditions as in exercise 81. So you're going to have to use this code, exactly this code, to implement it to a web app. As you remember, this solution was checking for a username if it existed. Like Pluto exists, but this doesn't exist, and this password would be fine. So users.txt has some existing usernames, and so here's now how this web app should look like. So it's running on the browser. Go to the browser. Yep, localhost 5000. This is the web app. Again, the web app should check the users.txt file for usernames. Let's say I'm entering Pluto again, and the password 8u, which is a good password. but this is saying username exists, so you have to enter username again, a new username and a new password again. So if I enter a username that doesn't exist in the file, let's say me, and let me put a password that is not valid. If I say submit, this will tell me to check my password. And so for the last time, if I enter a valid username and a valid password with numbers and big letters and I press submit, this will say success. And then of course you may want to render these text boxes again, so that the user, if they want to enter to submit data again, they can do it. Yeah, this is the web application, how it looks like. I hope you solved this, and thanks a lot for taking this course, and I hope you solved as many exercises as possible. And yeah, thanks a lot.